little bonus day for you guys. It's actually Christmas Eve at 5 o'clock in the morning. Been out for a little bit, answering some emails. You guys just don't rest. But super excited to show you my Thunder Tiger. So yeah, took some time. We did a lot of stuff here. We got this super cool little dwarf who's going to be driving the boat. Logan's going to have a blast. Let me see if I can get this off one-handed here. Painting him up. Lots of detail on there. Got these files off CG Trader. Also got the files for this. This used to be a steampunk walker thing. I just modified them and got that in there for a new neat tower. Also 3D printed new portholes. And yeah, it looks neat. I love it. It looks just unique, for a Thunder Tiger. I've also got some name plaques going on here. We're just going to call this Neptune. I think the dwarf would call it Neptune. Now, this tower is quite a bit heavier than just the clear dome. And so the whole boat sits a little stern heavy in the water. So we got to do some trimming. But when we had it in the water, the ballast was not functional. Now, I'm going to turn on my radio here, and I just want to see, because on the bench the pump was operating. So actually, there we go, we can see everything working. There's our forward and aft planes, and those are linked together with linkages that all connect right there. We got our rudder and our throttle. Oh, so smooth. Like silk. Like silk. Yeah, I think this is going to go really good. And here's the pump. You can hear it working, and the light comes on. I don't see. There you go. Maybe you can see it. You see that light coming on? Now, it was not moving water. It would not submerge. So I'm going to hazard a guess that this unit is seeing the same manufacturing defect that my previous one exhibited, and that is the shaft of the electric motor that drives that peristaltic pump did not have the slot in there. So it's just free spinning inside that central hub. And I've got another peristaltic pump here, so you can see how these are put together. You see these little rollers inside, and they roll, and they pinch these little rubber hoses and squirt out water. They're self-sealing, self-priming, but high pressure, but very, very slow. If this is not manufactured properly without a replacement part, there's not really any way for me to fix it. Two options: I can put in a new pump, peristaltic pump, or what I think I'm going to do is a little upgrade, and that is similar to what OTW does, a gear pump with a solenoid all in line, and that will fill and empty that ballast bag in probably 5 seconds or something like that, as opposed to 20 seconds that it would normally take. But now what I've got to do is disassemble everything that I've carefully assembled over the course of the last couple of days, get into the watertight compartment, and take a look at that pump. So that's what I'm going to be working on this morning before my workout. That's why I look like I'm ready to go to the gym. Workout at 7. Get some work done first. All right, I'm going to get into the battery compartment here. And I never really showed you guys the battery pack that I sourced and put together for this thing. So this is the bulkhead And this is a nickel metal hydride 4 amp 12 volt pack that I put together. Got some foam on there to make sure it fits nice and tight, doesn't move around. Now we need to get all the way in, so I think we are going to need to do some more disassembly. So I am going to take the body off so we can see what we're working with. So this is a really, really well-designed boat. I love this thing. It's just 4 bolts. This bulkhead comes off. And now, in theory, this tray may come out, which is going to give us access to the pump. That's the offending creature right there. So, I'm going to pull this out, hopefully. Oh, no, we got cables that are, oh, we got to pull the back off too in order to disconnect that and then get to that. So this is a little bit involved, but we'll get to it. All in all, it only takes about 5 minutes to disassemble. All right, she's apart, and like I said, this literally took 5 minutes. You can get this whole thing taken apart. I just want to point out a couple of things in here. This is a, completely separate module in here. Like I said, 1/4 of an inch thick, just incredibly over-engineered. Also, adjustable weights. You can move the trim. Now, I am hoping maybe I can adjust these weights forward. I can take these clips off and slide these weights forward more, and then I might not need to put some foam in there. I don't know. We'll see. If I need to, lots of annular space in between. All right, on to the nitty-gritty. Here is the pump right here, and that's a monster, man. It's huge. I don't know that the little replacement pump that I have in here is going to be suitable for this. Now this is probably, I don't know, maybe a 500 mil bag, 500 mil bladder. I'm going to go ahead and snip these, pull the hoses off, extract the pump, and we're going to take it apart and see what the heck is going on. All right, the pump has been extracted. Let's take a closer look. So this is the pump. And you can see in the front there, you got the rollers, 3 little rollers right there. Now I'm going to throw some power on this thing, and in theory, that roller should spin in there and push water out. But nothing, just spinning, just spinning. This is the exact same thing that happened to me on the last one. This appears to be a manufacturing defect from the factory, and obviously happened with multiple units. And it's really interesting because in order to fix it, you got to disassemble the entire boat to get at it and swap it out. I'm going to pull that pump apart. I want to see what that looks like inside, and I'll share it with you. So this is like the weirdest thing I've ever seen. There's just 3 rollers in there, but there's nothing that I can see that is connected to them as an assembly or anything to the shaft. The shaft just goes right in the middle of that little triangle of rollers and just spins and spins and spins. It's the weirdest thing I've ever seen. Somebody had better have gotten fired at Thunder Tiger for this, because I'd imagine a lot of these got shipped out if I got 2 of them back to back. So now we got to figure out what the heck we're going to do. I am really thinking we might go with a gear pump unit. Now, in order to use the gear pump, you need to have a solenoid to pinch off the back pressure. I could go with this, but I'm thinking the flow rate is going to be really, really low. But you know what? Let's do some tests and see what it is we're working with. All right, I don't know what I did to piss off the peristaltic gods, but here's a little replacement pump that I had. Now watch the middle here. I'm going to give it some power. Nothing. The motor's free spinning in this one too. What the heck? I have another one. I'm going to go grab it. But what the heck? Okay, here's the other peristaltic pump that I had. Little different manufacturer. But check this out. What the heck? Someone really, really, really doesn't like me in the peristaltic pump world. I don't understand what's going on here. So it's looking more and more likely that we're going to be going with a gear pump. Let's hook that thing up and we'll see what it does to inflate this bag. And here is the completed setup. We have our solenoid valve mounted in the back there, bolted to the bulkhead. Gear pump is in here, and then this is not connected to the intake, which is there, by the way. I'm going to be putting this in some water, and we're going to test it. I'm going to look for leaks, make sure that everything is working properly. I do actually have this plugged in and turned on already, so let's get this set up, grab our radio, and give it a little test here. And we'll go the other way. Done. Now you'll notice when I filled it all the way up, I probably went a little bit over. There's a separate intake here that goes to that splits off the ballast here, and it goes into I think this is a pressure switch, so it stops this from over pressurizing. You'll notice when I was going up there, I took my hand off and it back pressured. So that's super cool. What a cool submarine this is. I don't see any drips of water on my fresh cloth that I put down. So I think we're just going to put this thing back in and button it back up again. Well, happy belated Christmas to everyone. It is December the 26th, Boxing Day today. We had a great Christmas here at the Martin family, but we're back in the shop, and we've got quite a bit done. It's after lunch, but been working all morning, and I want to show you what we got done. So continued work on the Neptune, installed some additional flotation foam. You can see the corner of it poking out in here. Just pulled the side off, tucked in the foam, and it was easy as that. Oh, I gotta drill some vent holes in the tower here. That'd be super smart. Always something to do. Fix the leak. There was a leak coming from this fitting right here. So we open that up, put some adhesive, put it back down. That's never going to come out again because I'm never going to use that coaxial doomerhickey thing. I have begun work on a 77 scale RC setup. Now this is not a full build. This is just the installation of the watertight cylinder and linkages. So got a lot done today already. It's going super fast. Pretty stoked about how that's all setting up. I got this bracket on the top here, and that fits down into these pins, and that stops the cylinder from rotating and moving, and then I'll just have a Velcro strap that holds it down from the top. And then that way we don't need to worry about it moving. So still got to work out the linkages. You can see I've drilled through that support bracket there. It goes into the boat. All right, it comes out right here. And that'll be the rudder. That's how I run it out there. Customer did not send me the prop supports or the shroud supports or anything. So I'm just going to go as far as I can and he can do the rest. That's how it works. And Logan has spent some time doing our guy. We need to come up with a name for him. That's our pilot for the Neptune. He's looking pretty awesome. Little dwarf, little diesel punky dwarf. He's still missing his hand. We forgot about that. We gotta make him. His hand broke off when I was cleaning the support, so we've got to maybe make him like a little hook or something.
He kind of looks like a Confederate soldier.
Yeah, an amputee, poor guy. But if we gave him a hook, at least he'd be like functional. Mm-hmm. You know. So yeah, you're almost done. It's just really the instruments and maybe the handles on the.
Yep. And all I got to do is just finish shaking this up, get the brushed gold on, add 1 or 2 highlights, and I'll be done.
Nice. Yeah, and then we'll be able to throw Neptune back in the test tank. So today, other than replying to a whole bunch of emails that stacked up over the Christmas break and some work on some digital files, also have taken and ran with Ed Tortle's torpedo files. So these are the prototype parts. Now, I came up with a new launcher, but these are his torpedo files, the nose cone and the tail cone for the Mark 48s. And this is my tail cone and his nose cone. And I stole his section here and put on mine. So these are all completely universal and interchangeable now. So people can elect to do the modern Mark 48 or the older style, you know, like World War II-ish era finned torpedoes. But this is the idea. There's going to be a seal that goes in here. And let me pull this over here out of that purple light. Torpedo tube flush mounts into that body. And you'll be able to bolt this way, this way, this way, however you want to do it with these bolt holes. And they can slide back and forth or angle however you want to do it. And then this is the breech. So this center section is going to get some rubber poured in there with a center brass pin that's going to get pulled out after the rubber cures. And that is what the torpedo valve, the nozzle, is going to seat into. So this slides in here like that. And then to launch, this just goes back like that. You know, you can see my big thumb in the way. But anyhow, that's how it's going to work in theory. It's going to slide in and out. And I made it a little longer so that it'll just kind of stay in place. It won't fall off or pop off or anything. So, yeah, I just need to buy some aluminum tube, some 1/2-inch aluminum tube for the launcher, and some 7/16 for the torpedo bodies. And then we are going to be off to the races. We will test the new design, and if it works out, then in theory, I should be able to provide all of these components. And you can just provide your own aluminum tubing, or maybe I'll provide the aluminum tubing since I got to get tubing anyway. Yeah. So for torpedo kits, something long time coming. And it was Ed that gave me the initiative to do it. It's kind of the same design that I had been using before, but just feeding off his energy and just deciding that it was time. So rest of the day, I'm going to keep fiddling around with Nautilus here. Ideally, be able to knock most of it out by the end of the day. And then tomorrow, we got, I got to get that Calypso. There's my Calypso. Now, the customer that I originally bought this for, after he was all hot and bothered to get it done, you know, get it quoted and move ahead with it as soon as possible, no matter what the cost. I told him, hey, good news, got this all done for you. And he's like, no, I decided not to go ahead with it. That was super exciting news. Ended up with the boat and nobody for it. But I had a gentleman out of Italy reach out on a whim and ask me if it was available, and hey, sure enough, it was. So it's going to be going to Italy.
It's kind of rude. I mean, he was so like excited for it.
Yeah, I mean, I did jump the gun a little bit on it, but it leads me to believe he wasn't serious about it. As soon as he saw numbers, I think he was thinking it was going to get built for like $500 or something like that, and like. But anyhow, that's what we've got going on today, and we'll see how the rest of the day pans out. So it is Wednesday. Did not get as much done on the Nautilus as I wanted to because I was messing around with like the Thunder Tiger, and I was messing around with the Torpedo. So got one of the 48 scale Mark 48 torpedoes put together, but I've got a bunch of other parts here that I'm going to be messing around with. So not like Ed was using, I believe, 1/64th wall aluminum tubing. I went to 1/32. It's heavier, and if you watched my video on that torpedo system, you'll see they float too high. They were super buoyant, so that additional weight is actually something that's going to be really good. Now, the other thing that I'm going to be messing around with, I think, is obviously the nose cone and tail cone are hollow. I think what I'm going to do is put the pickup tube for the nozzle in there and then fill the entire tail cone with resin. And that will increase the weight of the weapon and allow for something that would be closer to neutral buoyancy. I think it's still going to be exceptionally positively buoyant, but it'll certainly help. So we'll play around with that a little bit as well. I tried pouring, where did it go here now? I think it was this one. Some silicone rubber inserts in here to create the seal for the filling, and it didn't kick off. I think it's just such a small volume in there that it just didn't kick. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to mess around with putting some silicone RTV in there, and that's going to be a little bit higher durometer, or a little stiffer, and I think it'll make a better, more solid seal. So I'm going to play around with that this morning. I'm going to get that kicking off. Logan is super excited about this step, I can tell. What are you working on?
I'm cleaning up parts for the display 48th Nautilus.
Yeah, these were all resin printed in-house. And these were the original files. I didn't do anything with them other than print them out. Yeah, I used heavy supports on here, which was probably a mistake. Now it's all basically structural underneath. It's going to be a mess to take apart, unfortunately.
Yeah, here's the previous piece that I worked on that had those heavy supports. You can still see like the nubs all across it. It doesn't take that much effort to like trim them, but if you make a mistake halfway through, you could just as easily buzz through whatever you're working on.
Yeah. All of these should be okay, all the detail parts, because those are all small or medium supports.
Oh yeah, these will just bust right off.
They just snap right off, yeah.
I mean, at this point, we've already got it 90% of the way there. I just gotta, take 3 seconds on this.
All right, well, I'll tell you what, start on it and see. In the new files that I did, these are oversized. The rakers, they're fat. So I fixed those. I integrated the side keels with the parts. I integrated like all the ballast vents already with the lower hull, so those don't need to be put in. So, and the scoops I made like functional and open and all sorts of cool stuff. So yeah, we'll see how you make out, see how easy it is, and then we can make a call as to whether or not we're going to repaint or reprint. One other thing that I wanted to talk about, which I found kind of funny, is I had ordered a couple of these Nautilus Book Nook things off of Facebook, because someone had sent me the link, and they're supposed to be super cool with like this full interior and like ship's wheels and chests and pipes and all sorts of cool things. And this is what I got last night. I got two. I ordered one for me and one for a friend, and that's what's inside. Nothing, absolutely nothing but some walls. So ripped off by the, I'm assuming, Chinese advertisers on Facebook. They came from China. No doubt about that, even though it was shipped out of California. So, little lesson to the wise, I guess. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. Well, happy to say, knocked out this project. Everything is working and functional. Let's take a look here. We'll get this thing kind of in focus. So we got our rudder. Well, let me see if I can turn this a little bit. There we go. There's our rudder. Oh, no, that's our pitch control. There we go. So you can see that tilting propeller assembly right there. Nice and smooth. Everything is working. We've got our rudder back and forth. Now, just a note about this. Again, the owner did not send me the prop ring or the struts or anything like that. So I provided to him some square tubing, not this piece, but similar to that. That is going to replace this prop shroud strut, I should say, and runs out into the rudder. So he's going to need to do all the bending and forming and all of that fun stuff. We got our throttle. And it does work when it tilts. Now, I don't have endpoint set up. So you could hear it kind of hitting on the back there. And what the owner's going to need to do is set up his endpoints. All right, here we are. And as you can tell, we are outside. Now, I've created a little test box for our 900 megahertz testing. And we got Logan way back there somewhere. And he is going to be recording all of the telemetry data from this. And it gets a readout back at the radio from signal strength in this value between 0 and 100. So for example, we are at about, I don't know, whatever, 60 feet away. What's the decibel for both 2.4 and 900? 79 and 80. So 79 and 80 on the 2.4 and the 900. So what's going to end up happening, I'm going to dunk this thing in the pool here, and I think what I'm going to do, well, we're just after value, so I'm going to dunk it here. So it's going to be in about 18 inches of water, and we're going to start with all these different antenna orientations. So we're going to go with the antenna, 900 megahertz antenna pointing at Logan, 90 degrees and 45 degrees, and then once that's all done, we'll go vertical. All right, let's take a look at some numbers. So parallel through the air, and these are all 900 megahertz values, right?
Yep.
All right, so we were at 90, 95, and 100. Wow, so it actually increased at 45 degrees.
Although what I will say is that anytime there was any movement, the value would fluctuate quite a bit. I tried when I was doing this to average it. The only one that was consistent is that when you were parallel, this stayed at a hard 90. When perpendicular, it fluctuated between like 92 and 98, so I just averaged it to 95. And 45, it would bounce between like 95 and 100, but it would remain at 100 for a few seconds at a time.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Okay. And then we dropped it in the water. And we got 40 when it was parallel, 38 when it was perpendicular, and 37 when it was at 45. So really no changes. And the odd thing is, in theory, according to like 900 megahertz theorem, it should have been highest when it was perpendicular, but we're not actually getting that at all.
Although what was strange about this one is that once they were in the water, those values were absolutes. They barely changed at all. It just went to that value and stayed.
And we were, for the sake of argument here, we were broadcasting at, I think 500, or was it 250? 250 milliwatts at, I'm going to say about 90 feet in 18 inches of water through the concrete berm of the spa. And then when the transmitter was facing away from the receiver, we got no telemetry when submerged, but we did when it went vertical. So I think based on this, you know, obviously a vertical orientation is probably the best, but if you have to put it horizontally, it looks like it made no difference in terms of the actual orientation, at least from this distance in these operating conditions. So keep your transmitter facing your boat at all times, and you should be good. All right, Logan and I were talking, and we have another thought here. We're wondering just how much this reinforced concrete barrier here is going to affect things over here. So this is the new scenario that we're looking at. Logan is going to go up on, that's fine, behind there. But he's going to have direct line of sight down here. I'm going to see if I can carefully balance the test box on top of our little sucker robot cleaner doohickey thingy. That's going to be about 2 feet of depth. So there's going to be direct line of sight to Logan. That's, you know what, and we'll pull that electrical cable out of the way just to make sure that it's not doing anything. And then we're going to re-record all the values. All right, test number 2. What do we got going on? So
results were better across the board.
So under the water, parallel 40, 45, 46. I mean, better, but not like exceptionally. You're also closer. Like you're probably 40 feet away versus 80 feet. You're twice as close when the radio was facing 90 degrees. Not when it was parallel, but when it was perpendicular and
at 45.
And vertical and 45. Yeah. Interesting. All right. So, takeaways. It looks like there's really no difference when you are under the water from that 90 feet, whether it's horizontal, facing toward, facing away, or at 45 degrees, or whether it was vertically oriented. It made no difference. And for line of sight, it was, you know, slightly more in the vertical orientation, but realistically within margin for error of horizontal. Now, these results would change a lot if you were 150 feet away.
Yeah, definitely.
But our yard's not that big, so that's not going to work. But I think most people probably operate their boats about 80 feet. 50 feet, 80 feet, somewhere in that range. So for an RC submarine perspective, I think this is pretty legit. There you go. Happy Thursday. You can see I'm standing in the kitchen, and the reason for that is because I just got in late last night a shipment from Vladimir in Belarus of more of his gorgeous model submarine kits. I got an Akula, a Lada, and Bori. Now, I've done a specific video on this. I've offered the Akula and the Lada previously, and they've got product pages on my website. This Bori kit is going to be listed up on my website here shortly, so you'll be able to see. I've got one each of those in stock. When they're gone, they're gone. We can probably order more in, but as you can tell right now, things are a little touch and go shipping from that area of the world. So just wanted to let you know, super excited to see something like this. If you want to see all the details, check out the dedicated video that I just put out on the RC submarine, and you'll get to know more about that super cool submarine. And in the shop, we got lots of stuff going on. So tested out the Neptune yesterday, and it's floating perfectly in surfaced trim, but it will not dive all the way. Now, on the bench, the ballast bag will inflate all the way, but when it's all sealed up, it will only inflate like maybe halfway. I am thinking that there is, well, I know there is a built-in pressure switch inside there. It's supposed to be able to like detect leaks and overpressurization. I think it's kicking in at the wrong time. This is kind of a problematic boat. So what I am going to do, because of my boat, and I really don't care, is I am going to disconnect the pressure inlet that is branched off from the ballast bag, and I'm just going to cap it so that it just detects ambient pressure at all times, and in theory will allow the bag to fully inflate and deflate. Now what this means is if I lose track of what I'm doing and just keep that ballast stick pushed over all the time, this thing is just going to inflate and inflate and inflate until one of the hoses pops, and then it'll start pumping water into the watertight compartment. So it just means I gotta watch what I'm doing, and when I reach submerged trim, stop it and call it good. Like I said, it's just a weird situation. I don't know if it's because I swapped the pump out, although I couldn't see that being the case. But at any rate, a weird quirk of this particular boat, but I still love it. Logan is going to be continuing work on our 48-inch resin kit. Just a note there, guys, if you're interested in that kit, please don't reach out to me and say how much, when, blah, blah, blah. If and or when I get that kit ready for production, you will be the first to know. I promise, okay? I'm working with a supplier overseas to produce these kits. It's just not cost effective for me to do it in-house. It's a tremendous amount of printing and cleanup and all of that stuff. So if that works out, it's going to be super high quality on commercial grade printers, and hopefully at a really good price. So just stand by, be patient. I have high hopes that it's going to work out well. Depending how things go, I may get to working on Seaview today. We'll see how that goes. And printing another little flying sub for friend, customer. I'm printing, or I laid up some seals inside here with rubber. We're going to see how these hold up when I pressurize them for the torpedo system. So lots going on, but mostly we're picking and packing orders, as exciting as that is today. Let's get this party started. Friday morning. Yesterday was really all we did was ship stuff out, didn't we?
Yeah, pretty much.
Worked on orders and shipped stuff out. A little bit of work on the Thunder Tiger, as you saw. We got the plug in for the internal pressure sensor, and I'm hoping that'll allow us to override whatever it was doing and submerge fully. So once it warms up here a little bit, it's like 35 degrees outside here right now. We're going to go into the pool and throw that thing back in. I did get a haircut yesterday. Got a little more off than I was anticipating. It's a little cool in the morning, but that's all good. This morning, I've been working on Seaview. Running power cables. The specifics are all going to be in the update video specific to the Seaview. Also got a little pocket for the battery in here. So yeah, we'll have specifics on the Seaview video, which I think I'll probably drop this weekend. I'll throw another update out there. And Logan been making good progress on our 48th scale Nautilus. Got all the painting and detail work for the wheelhouse going on.
Painted the top of the wheelhouse as well, like the inside of it, just in the way.
Yeah. So it's not going to have any pipes or anything on the side, but that's actually okay, because by the time you put this in,
it's full.
and then look through the little windows, this is all you can see, really. So it's one of those things where, allocate time and energy where it makes sense, where it's going to make a difference. These are 48-inch or 48 scale characters, but they're too big, so we're going to scale it down. And also what we're going to do, because the gentleman wants Nemo at the helm, I'm going to do a head transplant on the crewman who's driving. We'll put Nemo's head on there. And then we'll have the second crewman doing the dive levers. And you'll be able to see that through the window. So, and again, once you get the characters in there, you'll never see what's behind. So today, big priorities. Thunder Tiger, getting that final test and trim, and continued work on Seaview. I want to get that thing further along. Ideally get the ballast tank sealed up, ready to go, solenoids in place, all the wires run to the front, and then I can start working on the control box. We'll see if that happens. So, end of the day. Renee just got home. We are wrapping up. Lots of progress on Seaview. We're going to be finalizing things with the ballast tank and the drive compartment next week, which means in theory, depending on how things go, this might see water. We'll see, because paint and everything will happen last. We'll dunk it in, we'll see what it does. I'm super interested to see where it floats. Did not get to Neptune, but maybe this weekend we'll chuck it in. It'll just take a minute. Really, the question is whether or not the ballast tank's going to fill all the way.
Yeah. Hopefully that switch was the issue.
Yes. And you got your hull sections starting to go together. We're going to have some filling and sanding to do, but obviously that's kind of the case with any model kit. That's coming along nicely. Of course, Happy New Year to everyone from myself and Logan, Gracie, and Renee, the whole crew at the Drydocks here. Hope your 2023 was awesome and your 2024 is even better. Hey, if you like what you're seeing here, make sure you like and subscribe. Don't just come in here and ghost us. Like and subscribe. It helps us a lot. Questions and comments, drop below. Shoot me an email, bob@nautilusdrydocks.com. With that, I guess, unless you have something else,
That's everything.
we'll let you go. Have a great day, and we'll catch you next time.